Yo, what's going on, Brick Squad, and welcome back to another video. Today we have another episode of Matt's Mind. If you guys are unfamiliar with the series, Matt's Mind is basically a weekly Q&A series that takes place every Wednesday. I invite you guys to ask questions or topics for discussion down below in the comment section. And of course, if you guys want to be featured in next week's episode, all you have to do is smash the like button down below, and of course subscribe if you guys are new. Also changing up the setting a little bit. You guys are used to me standing over there and then you see my collection in the background. Today we're trying something a little different, trying to bring something new to the table, and of course you guys know I'm always trying to do some more unique fun stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into some questions we got from last week's episode. And before we get started, I do want to let you guys know, if I don't get to your question or if I just don't have time to it, please make sure that you comment it again on this recent post. I only look to the most recent post for my questions, for discussion, stuff like that. So please definitely go ahead and retype it, recomment it if I did not get to your question. The first question we got for today comes from Mythic Bricks. He says, I think something a lot of people haven't realized is that the 501st battle pack, when or if they make it, should probably be dark blue printing, not regular blue. Do you agree? To me, it's always just been regular blue. In fact, I do have a 501st Trooper here, and I do like it when it's just a normal, regular blue. I think that anything else is kind of weird to me. So I would honestly like for them to stick with the normal blue. I know it might be not 100% accurate, but in terms of how it looks, I think it looks better with like the normal blue. So I think dark blue would not be the greatest move for Lego. But of course, if we just get a 501st in general, I'll be super stoked. Next question comes from Redragon. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He says, do you think Lego's overproducing Lego sets? Example, this year Lego is released the Winter Wave 20th anniversary, the Summer Waves, the Episode 9 sets, the UCS sets, and possibly some Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7 sets. Honestly, to me, I haven't really noticed any sort of like significant increase in output from Lego sets. I mean, we usually get a Winter Wave, we usually get an April Wave, we usually get a Summer Wave, and we usually get a Fall Wave. So to me, it's not really anything crazy. Usually for May the 4th, around this time, they do the special promotions, whether that be a unreleased UCS set, or obviously we are getting the 20th anniversary sets as a part of the new wave coming out in April. So do I think Lego's overproducing? I don't think so. I think a big thing when it comes to determining whether or not they are overproducing is the set quality, and I know a lot of people are not happy about what Lego's been doing recently. I haven't really found myself hating a particular Lego set or something that they've made. So I think when it comes to thinking about overproduction, you have to take into account whether or not the sets are quality. And in my opinion, the minifigure quality that we have been getting for the past couple of years has been one of the best in most recent times. So I don't think Lego's overproducing. I think they're producing just the right amount. We got 3 or 4 waves coming each year, which is pretty normal. Question comes from Rusty Bricks. Great video. I appreciate all of the thought put into your answers. Appreciate that, man. My question is, would you consider yourself a bigger Star Wars fan or Lego, quote, Star Wars fan? Definitely Star Wars first, believe it or not. So when I was younger, I started watching all the movies. I'm pretty sure I've answered this sort of question before in terms of like my Star Wars exposure. So I started watching the original trilogy when I was very young, and then I got into the prequels when they came out, and then obviously now watching the sequels and stuff like this. So I would definitely consider myself a Star Wars fan first. In fact, the first time that I played with a Lego set when I was really young was when they first made the Star Wars sets. I think I played with the really old Yoda bus, like the UCS Yoda bus that came out in like early 2000s or even 1999. Then once I kind of found out that Lego is actually producing a whole bunch of Star Wars sets, making stuff that I remembered from my childhood, that's kind of when I gradually got into Lego, if that makes sense. So I would definitely say that I am a Star Wars fan first. I think I'll always love the Star Wars theme itself within Lego the most, and then obviously my growing passion of Lego has kind of landed me in different areas where I do start to appreciate other themes such as Overwatch, Creator, City, stuff like that. So to answer your question again, Star Wars is my big thing. I am a big Star Wars fan first, and then because of Star Wars, I got into Lego. Next question comes from Mark Kiog. Matt, the Battle of Scarab, good set or not? So I'm assuming you're talking about the one that released in 2016, I believe. I think it retailed for $49.99. It came with 2 Scarab Troopers, Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor, and then obviously like the little mini Scarab display. I think it's a great set actually, especially because a lot of places had it for 20% off, but even $50 for essentially some awesome minifigures. In fact, I still do have some of my collection of Scarab Troopers here, so I might as well just pick those out. These guys are super cool, and I think that for $50 is really nothing terrible to be asking, in my opinion. I do love the set. It has some great parts, especially the palmetries and then the tan ground. So I think it's a really good set, and if you're ever thinking of getting it, definitely go ahead and pick it up. Next question comes from Preston Kitesman. How many non-Lego Star Wars sets do you have? So I'll probably have to turn around for this, not gonna lie. We have the fishing store, the Parisian restaurant, the diner, the palace, the detective's office, the Brick Bank, and then I have all 5 of the Overwatch sets, so that's 11. So excluding sealed sets, I have 11 of the sets actually built. I do have a couple of Palace Cinemas and like fishing stores kind of stored away for future use. But in terms of non-Lego Star Wars, I probably have anywhere from 10 to 15 of that. And then obviously the rest of my collection is dominated by Star Wars. Next question comes from Mixed Bricked. What is your favorite UCS set? I definitely have to say the UCS Slave 1 as of right now, the one that I own. However, a lot of you guys know who have been watching the channel for a very long time know that I really want a UCS Star Destroyer or a UCS Venator. So if that were to come out, that'd probably take the place for number 1. But as far as my current UCS sets, I have 3. I have the Y-Wing. I guess I also have technically the Falcon, but I don't have it built. Slave 1, I have the TIE Fighter, and then the Y-Wing. So I'd probably say in that order is going to be my favorite. I'm really excited to get finally some more UCS sets coming up again. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more. The next question comes from Aussie Creator. Hey man, I have a question for you. What is your favorite brick, which is typically at the pick-a-brick wall? So my pick-a-brick wall is nothing crazy. I've heard a lot of stories where people are finding some ridiculous pieces on their pab wall. But for me, I think the best find that I've ever actually gotten is going to be 2x2 like bluish gray tile. That's the only thing that I've actually ever gotten. I've never gotten water studs. I've never gotten anything crazy. So in terms of my own experience, light bluish gray 2x2 tile. In fact, I bought 4 cups when I was recently at the Lego store, and that all equated to a huge bin of just 2x2 tiles. So I'm very happy that I was able to pick that up. I'm also a really big fan of getting like 4x6 plates, especially tan ones, that I also did pick up for Kessels. So I think that's kind of the extent of which I've gotten really good stuff from my pab wall, although I've heard crazy stories for other people. Next question comes from RB Customs. My question: with an infinite budget and infinite resources, or like where this question is going, what MOC would you do? Alright, so basically my dream MOC. What would be my dream MOC that I could do on a massive scale that I would absolutely love? To be honest, I think I would love to revisit Scarab and make a giant like 25 by 25 gray base plate MOC with a whole bunch of islands, obviously all the tower, all the water would just look so beautiful, all the islands and this whole tropical sort of feel. If I had truly infinite resources, infinite money, infinite time, I would definitely do Scarab. I'd get like 10 or 15 ATA CTs like the one above you right there, or one above me. Scarab is definitely one of those plants where I will never ever get tired of seeing a MOC that's well done of it. I love the whole beach aspect, I love the tropical aspect. So if I truly had infinite everything, I'd definitely go to Scarab. Although I'd also like to do a massive Clone Wars battle. I think I'd also like to do a massive like Geonosis arena. I think that'd be pretty cool if I had infinite resources, especially since Geonosis is in that like earth orange color, but it's not necessarily available in Lego for cheap, so I think maybe that's also a really good opportunity, but I'd say it's somewhere between those two. Next question comes from Aiden Bove. A, I was the 66th like. Well, thank you Aiden Bove for smashing the like button. Speaking of which, if you guys haven't already, what are you guys doing? B, how do you categorize sizes of MOCs, like how many base plates make a mid-scale or a large-scale MOC? So basically, in my opinion, this is how I categorize MOCs. There are 3 different types of sizes of MOCs. Obviously, you have mini MOCs, we have mid-scale MOCs, then we have large-scale MOCs. I think for it to be a large-scale MOC, it has to be at least a 2x2 gray. That's just my own personal opinion. I know that building 1 gray is big for a lot of people, but in terms of a big MOC and a quote-unquote big MOC, I think at least a 2x2 gray is definitely the minimum. When it comes to mid-scale MOCs, pretty much anything below a 2x2 gray leading up to probably and including a single gray base plate, that would be my idea. I think a gray base plate's still a pretty good size, especially for a mid-scale MOC. And then when it comes to mini MOCs or small MOCs, anything below a gray base plate, so green base plate, you know, stuff like that, sizes, comparisons, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I interpret sizes of MOCs, and it's kind of how I categorize it. Of course, everyone's probably gonna have a different way of sort of, you know, categorizing these different layers and different styles of MOCs, but that's kind of how I look at the stuff when I find it. The next question comes from Kessel Productions. What do you plan on doing with your Lego as you move on in life? So honestly, my goal in life right now is to have Lego, whether that be via YouTube or anything else, play some sort of part in my life in terms of both my passion and economically. Obviously, you know, as much as I'd love to make YouTube videos all day and sit back and build, I do have to pay bills eventually, not right now, thankfully, but when I do move out, that's something that I will have to take into account. So I would love for Lego to play some sort of role, whether that be my YouTube is paying for, you know, my rent or something like that. But I'm assuming your question means in terms of my own collection, like my parts. So when I move out, I plan on really getting professional with how I set up my studio. Obviously, you guys can see that I have to squeeze all my stuff into my room, which is a pretty big room, and I'm very thankful that I have this room, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely tough. It definitely gets annoying squeezing my probably upwards of 200,000 parts into this room. So when I move out, I do plan on getting a separate studio with a giant table, obviously for my mock building. I also do plan on getting a huge bin, a huge rack of storage containers for my parts. And then in terms of like my sets I want to keep displayed, such as my UCS Falcon, which is behind me right there, or like the ATM6 or the AT-ACT, I definitely plan on getting some like display areas for that stuff. But basically whenever I grow up into life, when I move out, I do want to have Lego still be very visible as a part to my life right there, if that makes sense. Next question for today comes from Marfan. He says, if you had to choose, never build, create, or not have the reach and following that you have online. That's actually a really good question. I would have rather not build crate. I know that might be a surprise to a lot of you, especially being that I'm a mock builder, but it's been a really large amount of work getting the following that I have today. So I do really think that if I didn't build crate, I would have eventually built crate, or if not, I would have been spending my time working on another project, which I would have done another build series for, which I would have hopefully gotten an interview for and set up in Chicago and Virginia. So I would definitely say that I would rather have not built crate and keep my social following, especially YouTube. YouTube is one of the hardest places to build a subscriber count and like a social following. So I definitely would have rather not build crate and keep my current following for sure, because obviously I can always build something else, and crate's not the only option. Whereas if I would give up my social following, I'd basically be starting from zero, and who knows how long or if even when I would actually gain that back. Anyways guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, like I said before guys, comment your questions down below, especially if I didn't get to it. I do want to make these videos anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes long, so I don't have time to get to everybody's, but I do really appreciate all you guys supporting me recently. Stay tuned hopefully for Thursday or Friday for a live stream coming up. I'm not sure what it's going to be exactly, but you guys know it's going to be a fun time. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you later. Peace.